Hey guys, it's Jen here with another anxiety tip to help you manage the anxious moments, help you reduce overall anxiety, and bottom line, help live a more positive, thriving life. And I'm officially bringing the anxiety tip series back, and thought what better way than to kick off than today. And for today's tip, it's all about basics. So, three basics of building a stronger emotional, mental awareness in order to manage anxious moments. I like calling them anxious moments as opposed to owning as my anxiety. For me, that's become important in order to disconnect from it. If I own it, I'm taking it as mine. Whereas for me, and what I tell all my clients is if it's that you're having an anxious moment, it's easier to let go of because that's just a moment. You can let go of that anxious moment. So make sure to, I would invite you to look at that distinction and just say, can you disconnect from the anxious moment versus this is my anxiety? So, okay, tip of the day, guys. For me, managing anxiety, the easiest thing is to keep it simple. And for me, I always like looking towards the basics of what basic things could be causing an anxious moment for me. And those basic things, maybe things that you've never heard about, maybe things that you've heard over and over again. I was talking to a young lady last week and she said, and I quote, "Jen, you mean water can impact if I have anxiety?" And that's going to be tip number one for today. So the basic foundations that I'm going to talk about right now is hydration, food, and exercise, moving our body. Guys, I'm going to look at a couple notes because I pulled a couple statistics. And although lack of hydration can't cause anxiety, if you're more prone to anxiety, depression, mood, tension, when it's already something that you're prone to, a lack of hydration can exacerbate those moments. So even listen to this, depending on what study, and I found several, depending on which one, as little as 1 to 3% or 2%, basically 1 to 3%, lack of hydration in anyone can impact cognition. The thing I found interesting and it makes perfect sense is when it comes to hydration, it's really a safety mechanism, right? Like our body says, I don't have enough water, go into panic mode. So legit, like our brain and our body's doing its job. It's telling us, I don't have enough water, give me water. It thinks that it's being starved of that really important piece of keeping our cells and our blood and our organs and our skin and everything headed in the right direction. So it goes into panic mode when we're lacking water, when we're dehydrated. So drink up. Now guys, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor. So I really have it. For me, I know where my water lines are. I know pretty quickly because I monitor it when I'm dehydrated. And I don't know what it is for all of you. I think a good rule of thumb to start with is an ounce per, I think it's an ounce per pound of body weight or something like that. On that note, I'll do some research and come back with a follow-up about hydration. In any case, check with your doctor, check with your nutritionist, or track your water and see how it makes you feel. And if you find yourself going into that anxious moment, drink some more water. Have a glass of water and then wait 5 minutes, see if it helps. So that's number one. Number two, food. Guys, the food we eat is so important. Now, again, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not here to tell you to what to eat and what to not eat because I'm a proponent of having the occasional piece of chocolate cake if you can control it. But the tips that I have on this one are key is that track your food for a week. Track your food for 30 days. Figure out how that food impacts you. Does it, when you eat something an hour later, are you super anxious? When you have that big bologna sandwich, I don't know, Does it cause you anxiety? Does it cause you fatigue? Track your food and then track how it makes you feel physically, emotionally, tired wise, whatever it is. And then adjust your food and pinpoint which foods are impacting you positively. Eat more of those. And pinpoint which foods are impacting you negatively and eat less of those. Generally speaking, I think it's a good rule of thumb that processed foods, sugars, alcohols, guys, we all know that any of those in large quantity are not good for us. Again, I'm not here to give you a food lecture. The other thing that I'll note, just as an example of how foods can trigger us, is I made the choice last week to have corn chips when my husband and I went out to Qdoba. Guys, I can tell you the next day, my emotions were all over the board. And there was nothing else that sparked it. It was seriously just the corn chips that I ate. For anyone else, it may not have impacted them at all. For me, it sparked this emotional roller coaster that I don't like. So I choose to not have foods that make me feel that way, or be really prepared of what I'm going to expect the next day. Okay. The next thing I wanted to note on food, guys, if you're someone who historically can struggle with body image, I can tell you, as someone who has maintained a massive weight loss for a lot of years, and when I have that 20 pesky pounds that come up and down, it can impact anxiety for me. It can impact anxious moments for me. So watch that as well, and just watch your body image. If you have the body image conversation and there's work to do on that one, watch how that impacts the foods you eat and in turn the anxious moments that you have. And again, track and adjust accordingly to what you need. And then the final thing is movement. Guys, I can tell you that for me, when I'm having an anxious moment or when things come up, if I just get up and move, a walk outside, maybe just dancing around the house, just something to get that extra energy out or to break the state I'm in, is so helpful. And again, this is one that I'll do a longer video on in future. However, when you're having that moment of anxiousness, if I can talk anymore, the simple act of getting out of the environment you're in, moving, changing your state, can all potentially help shift it. So there you have it, today's tips. Anxiety tips number 1. I'm going to be back with a lot more to come as the days move on here, is hydration, food, and movement. So track them, watch them, adjust, and see how it helps. All right, guys, if you like my content, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you right here next time. Bye, guys.